communication skill class, right? Fourth class. What are the subjects covered already? Public speaking, non-verbal communication, verbal communication. Anyone of you heard me earlier? Which one? Mind management techniques. That's all, only one. Most of you are engineering students. How many of you are engineering students? Okay, nearly 50%. Fine. Today morning, what is the first communication you got? Good morning. Who told you that? Who gave you the good morning call first? What is that you communicated to somebody? Today morning, what was your first communication? Alarm. So verbal or non-verbal? Non-verbal. Alarm was the first communication? Are you sure? Are you sure alarm was the first communication? How did you listen to alarm if you are not woke up? If you are in deep sleep, will you listen to something? Will you hear the sound? So what was the first call you got? Got confused. 4 days of communication skill is not enough. First somebody said good morning, somebody said alarm. Was it the real one? Then what? So she knows I am in the mind. Okay. Listen, what was the sound first you had? Nil. Nothing. No response. We have already attended some 3-4 classes, right? No communication skill. You should communicate. If you don't communicate, it will not come. Nothing will come from me. Okay, I am an unknown entity, so you don't want to communicate to me. Right? Okay, I am Shashi Kumar, Dr. Shashi Kumar, PhD is in mathematics. Okay, scientist in Department of Space. I work in image processing, computer science and all that. I am in Hyderabad for last few years, teaching on mind management, mind control, personality development, communication skill, self-confidence building, self-improvement, etc. Generally, I talk on communication skill is slightly different. Non-verbal, verbal and all that will not come. Before all this, there is a communication which happens internally. Okay? I am talking to you, but am I really communicating to you? It makes a lot of difference. Correct? If you want to respond also, something should happen internally. Right? You have to be here. If you are not here, nothing will respond, nothing will happen. Shankara says, you will hear but you don't listen generally. That's a big problem with people. You will hear but you don't listen. That's why teachers in the class go on telling, please listen, please listen. Right? Because the teacher knows that you are not listening. You are only hearing. When you hear, there are cells in your ear that react to your sound. But that does not have a knowledge. Therefore it does not understand anything. It just has some sound, that's all. But that have to be converted into some meaningful words, sentences. Therefore grammar will come from the head. Words will come from the head. Right now? Whatever knowledge you have, that communicates to whom? Okay, communicate somewhere. Or the ear communicates to the brain. And then what happens? Whenever you listen to something, you feel like smiling, you feel like crying. Therefore, a feeling comes inside you. The feelings are of your mind. The brain gives knowledge, dictionary, grammar, phonetics, everything is with the brain. And that understand in some way, and the feelings comes. That comes from the mind. Therefore, there is a communication between your mind and the brain. Buddhi and manas. So much of communication happens internally, and you start comparing all that. So let it be a verbal communication. You start looking at each word that I speak, and you realize it's English. So your Telugu dictionary will go from there, and English dictionary will get loaded. So fast, the directory comes up. And then what happens? You start comparing with all the other English you heard earlier and my English. So this man's English is different. This is not English, this is Monglish. That's Malayalam mixed English, I carry it. And your Tenglish will not work. Telugu mixed English will not work here. Then what you will do? All the phonetics will come. You start comparing all that. So what do you do generally when you listen? You start comparing, you start judging, you start interpreting, you start analyzing, you start paraphrasing, all that you do internally. You don't listen at all. You start comparing, you start judging, you start interpreting, all that happens. And then what do you do? How do you interpret whatever knowledge you had earlier? All the background information you will pick it up. What you listen, compare with that and get into a new knowledge. Start judging. Communication skills, 3 classes are over, 4th class. What do you do? Whenever I am telling something, you will start comparing with what the other person told already. You have heard some communication skill classes, you start comparing with that area. This happens internally all the time. So there is a lot of communication which happens internally before really realizing what the speaker wants you to understand. So what happens when you listen? You perceive things, you don't understand things. It's called perseverance. You pursue something. You realize this is what it is, not necessarily that's what it is. You will realize in some other sense. You will perceive in a way, and the way you perceive is not the way the speaker wants you to perceive. That's why in communication skill generally it says, the perceiver perceives the way the perceiver wants to perceive and not the way the speaker wants the perceiver to perceive. Okay? The speaker wanted to perceive in some style, that will not be perceived. You will perceive in your own way. You will start interpreting and judging and understanding in your own style. A communications becomes good only when 100% of what my thought process gets into your thought process and you understand whatever I say. Will it happen? Okay, fine. If that does not happen, no problem. But will you be able to understand the essence of it? Wonderful. That's good. Does it happen? That's also difficult. At least if you don't misinterpret, that's fine. Will it happen? Don't know. That's also doubtful. All depends on your background knowledge. All depends on your background knowledge. Assume all of you don't understand English at all. I started talking in English. What will happen? All the communication will go back. So language is very important. Not only in verbal, in non-verbal also languages are there. Assume that a person from outside the city, a person who is from village comes to Hyderabad. He drives his vehicle. He is seeing some green light, red light, yellow light. He says wonderful light, no? He won't understand anything. He will just drive on. When red light is also, he will drive. Right? No, because he has never seen a signal. Right? Before license is given, they will be asked what is red, blue, green and all. That makes no sense, you know. If you are not practiced seeing that, you will have a problem. Assume that while driving, you are in a hurry and somebody is coming from opposite, you will switch on and switch off the light 3-4 times, right? If it is at night or daytime, you will switch on the light. That means you are in a hurry and then he has to give you way. That's what it means, right? No? But that's in India. If you go in Europe, if you switch on the light, that means you will keep away and let him go. Just reverse. So what will happen? Accident will happen. So not necessarily you will understand the language verbally or non-verbally. You heard the word mlechan? Mlecha Bhasha. In Sanskrit, mlecha means not good. That's what the public will understand, but the real meaning is mlecha means you don't understand. For me, Sanskrit is a mlecha Bhasha. For me, Oriya is a mlecha Bhasha. Mlecha Bhasha means which I don't understand. But generally public will understand it's a bad language. If somebody talks bad language, they will say don't talk Mlecha Bhasha. Because you don't understand the meaning of Mlecha itself. Okay? Many people don't understand. Even the language is very important. You don't understand. Vairagyam means what? Vairagyam means what? How many of you go to temples at least once or heard some chantings? Heard some chantings in your life? Vairagya Siddhyartham. Heard this? Right, no? Vairagya Siddhyartham. Etc. etc. Karishmayami. What does it mean? Karishma or Puja Bhatt or somebody will come in mind. Right, no? Dash 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 karishyami. For what? Vairagya Siddhyartham karishyami. I am doing for Vairagyam. For getting out of desire. That's what it means. But actually you are submitting something for puja for getting good marks. Is it Vairagyam? No. But it is said that you are doing puja for Vairagyam and you are having some desire in mind and you will think only that. Because you don't understand the meaning. Right now? First you said that you got the communication good morning, alarm and all that. Because you don't understand the language of God. God communicates to you first. Generally people will communicate to God. And God does not understand your language. And God will communicate to you and you don't understand God's language. There is some time called Brahma Muhurtam. Heard about it? What does it mean? What happens to you that time? Peacefully sleep, right? No problem, nothing will happen. But you keep somebody for watch tomorrow. Let somebody get up early morning before you wake up. There is a difference between waking up and getting up. Okay? And ask somebody to keep on watching you exactly at Brahma Muhurtam, nearly 2 hours prior to the sunrise. You will take a turn and then sleep. If your bed sheet is out, you will pull it out. And if your head is out, you will put it inside. If you are habituated putting the head out, you will do that. You will stretch your body once. You will turn from left to right. Something will happen to you. That's because Lord Brahma will call you, Dr. Shashi Kumar, please wake up, please wake up. Then what we will do? We will not listen to him. We will just take a turn and then sleep again. What do you do in the early morning? The best thing, sleep again. As soon as you wake up, what you do? Sleep again. Right now? We don't get up. The God wants us to get up and He wakes us up, but we don't listen to Him. Can you imagine? We get the call of God, but we don't listen to Him. Then what will happen? The whole day we start calling Him and He won't listen to you. Right now? The first call comes from God Himself. And then you will not sleep really. You are not in deep sleep. You will listen to the curtain washing sound in the kitchen by mother. The neighbors' windows are opened or closed. No? The street, what happens, the vehicle movement. You will listen to the alarm. And then also you will not wake up. You will somehow you will switch it off and somebody will come and call you. Mother will call you and you will say you will not listen. Yesterday I slept only at 1 o'clock, you will say. Okay, all that communication will happen and you will sleep again. If brother or sister is coming, you communicate with the leg. Okay, now all that happens to you. And if father calls, jump out, finished. You know how communication comes from him. Non-verbal will come straight. See how nicely we understand communications, how nicely we react to communications. So well. So there is something which is called a knowledge within us, and there is something which a communication which comes to us. This mixed together only will become communication, real communication. Otherwise it's just sound, verbs, sentences, makes no meaning. Once it gets reacted inside, and the reaction should perform into an action which is useful for you, and that becomes the real communication. Then only we can say, okay, it has communicated, it has done its business. The communication ends only when you listen to something and then you act on the. If that does not happen, the communication becomes useless. Therefore, who communicates to you maximum is the question. Okay, God is not outside. There is no Brahma who comes to every door and then calls you up. Brahma is within. Okay, there is something which is within which talks to you. Okay? There is cells, and as soon as your eyes are open, the cell will take what? The picture of me and then put inside. Useless communication happened. My picture is already inside your brain. Useless for you. Ena chakshusha pashyanti, ena chakshunshi pashyatihi. There are cells within the eye, and that cell does not have an eye. But still that cell will see. Can you imagine? The cell is not communicating. The cell is not communicating. Cell is only some patterns, If you zoom 20,000 times, the cell what you see in your eye and the cell what you see on this table are same. Atoms will be there. Correct, no? There will be nucleus, electrons, protons, neutrons, all that will be there. But what makes it different is there is something called a consciousness within the cell. And that consciousness makes it to understand. The buddhi is there for each of the cell. The consciousness is there, and that understands. And that, how does it understand? And the same cell is available in the ear, on your fingers, on your every part of your body cell is same. But when it reaches the eye, it becomes a cell of eye. Like it takes different roles in different places. When I am here, I become a lecturer. When I sit there, I will become a student. Somebody else will become a teacher. So each cell in its place acts in its own way. When I go back to office, I will become subordinate in front of boss, and I will become boss in front of my subordinates. We take different roles in our life. Each cell acts its roles because it has got consciousness. And the consciousness will tell the cell what to do. That is the biggest communication which it does. And there is a lot of communication which comes to each one of us at each place. The way you are sitting, the way you are responding, all that is because of communication which happens internally. So eye communicates, ear communicates. And there will be contradictions between eye, ear, nose, tongue, all that communicate entirely different. Sometimes we get confused because of different communications. We look at somebody, yeah, wonderful, very good, nice, feeling comes inside because eye communicates and that got registered. When they opened the mouth, oh, this person cannot have this voice. The match is not there. How does it happen? Because the ears start understanding this sound cannot be from this person. Finished. The contradiction comes, no? There is a nice poem in Malayalam. Some lady is playing veena nicely. So beautiful music. And the fingertips are almost bleeding. Almost bleeding. It's not started bleeding, it's almost bleeding. Then the eye says it's almost bleeding. So what will happen? Eye says please stop. But ear is listening to the music. It's so wonderful. The ear says continue. You see, the Ear says continue and eye says to stop. To whom? To the mind. So there is an internal communication which happens. Everything which happens, if you start analyzing, you will understand there is a lot of communication which happens inside and you are interpreting it. When it is verbal or non-verbal. The veena playing, the words which comes have got a verbal, and the playing and the seeing is only non-verbal. There is no words. But you have a feeling internally which comes out. So the feeling is the resultant of any communication. But generally, feeling does not come in communication. That's the biggest problem. The feeling does not come inside communication. One example, you must have taken 1,000 times or more number of times the oath that all Indians are my brothers and sisters, right? When you walk on the road, do you feel, oh, this is my brother, this is my sister? Do you feel that? They are not Indians or what? They are Indians, right? No? Why it does not happen? Because you are by-brained, the first word. You must have not heard this. You have not seen dictionary. It's all coined by me. Okay? You by-brained that word, but you are not by-hearted that word. Generally people say you by-heart a subject. If you are by-hearting, wonderful, very good. Some mother will say that the kid, my son, no, it's not at all good. He by-hearts everything. I say wonderful. People don't by-heart, that's the biggest problem. If you are by-hearting, it is good. But that's again misinterpreted. By-hearting means it's a bad thing. By-hearting is really good. You keep something in your heart. Is it good or bad? Good, no? So you should keep things inside your heart. But no, generally people don't. You're all, few of you are engineering students, right? No? All the subjects you will by-brain. You don't by heart. Then what will happen? As soon as examination is over, the disk is crashed. Next day you take same question paper after writing the exam, start rewriting it again, nothing will come. Because you know, until examination you need the subject, after examination in your life it is useless. You know that, right? But assume you go to your friend's house. The way he has taken you, you know. Because you know next time you have to go. If you think you don't require that path to take next time, you will not by-heart it. Your brain is so wonderful, it will keep informations only which are required. If it is not required, you will not keep. So powerful, so programmed well, it knows what to keep in rack, what to keep in raw. Okay, what is to be archived, what is to be temporarily backed up. There is a difference between archival and backing up. Archival is permanent, backing up is temporary. Okay, so it knows what is to be archived, what is to be backed up. So wonderfully programmed. When you open the book, assume you have to understand it perfectly. Assume you have to give a lecture. Say I am giving a lecture. I have by-hearted so many books yesterday night, up to 1 o'clock to give this class. What will happen? All that you will get by-hearted. After the class finished, nothing will be. But assume when I am reading anything in my life, I take it totally into heart, then what will happen? Automatically I have to stand here, some words will come, and who will give me this? Whoever is my God will be sitting beside and say, Shashi Kumar, you tell you this, nothing is going to happen to you. All people removed chappal and came, so nothing, you don't have to worry. Ramakrishna does it, remove chappal and come, so no problem. Speaker can carefully, you don't have to worry about it. See what happens? Whatever we learn, it comes only if it's there in your heart. And you have to talk with the feeling. Then what will happen? That go inside you with the feeling. If I talk without feeling, you will not feel the class. You will just listen or you will just hear and it goes. After the class you will forget peacefully. How many of your lectures are inside your brain? How many of your lectures are inside your heart? Very few. lectures will keep inside you and it will be inside you, not the whole words what spoke, but the feeling what is given by the class. So it's slightly different, yeah. It makes a difference. And it will be within you and you will remember. Not the person, not the words, but there is some feeling which comes. That's why people say that we will forget the words, we will forget what is said. All that will go, but the feelings, that will be within. And what makes feelings? When it hits in your mind. Hits in your mind. It has to get into feelings. So when you read a book, you should read with the feelings. If you don't read with the feelings, it makes no sense to you. You must have seen thousands of movies, hundreds of movies, right? All that is in your mind, but 50% of them are in your mind, definitely. But you must have read maybe hundreds of books, but 50% of them are in your mind. 10%. If I ask you, what is your subject? You will say either electronics, communication skill. What is your background? You will still say communication, electronics, computer science, mechanics, civil engineering and all. Is that your background or foreground? That is your foreground. Background you have social studies, mathematics, chemistry, physics, biology, everything. Because up to 10th standard you must have learned all these subjects. But when you forget that you have a background in biology. You will forget that you have a background in social sciences. You will forget that you have ever learned geography. Because you are not in that field and you have not got that subject with feelings. But there may be one story in some English textbook which must have struck you, and then that will be inside your mind all the time. Whenever you wanted to think about your school studies, what comes to your mind? Will all the teachers, all the subjects will come? No. There must have been a tough teacher who must have kicked you. Fine, that will be there. So, somebody is entering in your mind only when it gets into feelings. You will see thousands of people around, but nobody gives feelings to us. But when you see somebody, it gives a feeling and they will be inside your heart throughout, So there is a lot of communication which happens internally from what you see outside. Therefore, if a subject have to communicate to you perfectly, what is to be done? Open the book and then with full feeling read it, How do you read with the feelings? That's a trick. The book communicates to you. The person communicates to you. Whatever you see communicates to you. But the communication is not perfect. You should get attached. Then only the communication will become perfect. I take Indian Express morning and I saw there is a news. First page, second page, I will skip all that. And fifth page, because it comes from other states. And I am from other state. And then I will see where are the newses. Okay. First feeling comes of native. That's why we skip all the pages and then get into the other state news. And when we reach there, we will see which are all the different districts. And I get into my district, I see Kannur, fine. And then I will see from where the reporter. In the district itself there can be another report. Oh, it says fire. No problem. There can be fire. I am not there. So I have no feeling, right? No? Then when I read further, I see, oh, this is from my taluk. Wonderful. Something burned in my taluk. It becomes a news. Otherwise it never comes in news. First time. Wonderful. I read further, I see it's my village. Oh, my village. The name never comes in the paper, it has come. Then I learned my house burned out. Fine. See, how do you communicate with? Right now? Whenever you read, you get closer to that and you get feelings because it is closer to you. When you see movie, you get closer to the movie. That's why 2.5 hours you will sit full concentration. Every body movement, lip movement, all wonderfully by heart. Right? Because you have a feeling in it. And it is thrilling. You imagine what's going to happen in the next scene. Right? Is there any person who is not having that feeling when seeing movie? No, I have not seen. Otherwise people will throw the ticket and say it's boring, I am not able to concentrate, and you go out. Is there anybody who is not able to concentrate in the cinema theatre? 2.5 hours, full concentration, no problem. So how wonderful people are. Full concentration, 2.5 hours. Cinema is able to communicate to you, you are able to communicate to cinema. After each scene comes, what will be the next scene? You will imagine in your mind. And it will never come and you will feel you are a fool. Fine, wonderful. Very happy to realize that you are a fool. And sometimes you realize, yeah, what I thought is what happened. So I am the director of the foolishness. Both happens. But when you read a book, what is going to come in the next line? Is there any guess? Let it come, no problem for me. How does it matter to you? Assume while reading you are able to guess what's going to come in the next paragraph, your reading is perfect. If you are not able to guess what is in the text, your reading is useless. So what do? How do you communicate in reading? Today newspaper, morning. What will be the headline? Budget. Why? Because you had yesterday some knowledge. Right now, you heard something is happening on 28th February every year, and all that is understood. Therefore, what will happen? If you are thrilling to know, morning when you open, you will have something in mind. But you know everything today, that's the biggest problem. Therefore, you have no interest. If you know everything, you have no interest. If you know little bit, you will be thrilled to know, or you will know how Indian Express is quoting the budget, how Hindu is quoting the budget, how Times of India will write. That you don't know. Right now? So when you read the newspaper, it becomes so thrilling for you. But assume you don't know anything about what's happening in the world. When you read a newspaper, will it make thrilling for you? No problem. So your background knowledge, how much you are up to date, will tell you how thrilling you are. And that will give you some interest in reading, and that reading becomes really communicative to you. Otherwise it is not communicative. So what is to be done? When you read, it should become a communication to you. When you take a textbook, whichever subject, whatever you are reading, doesn't matter. Let it be a novel, let it be a paragraph, let it be a textbook, let it be a technical subject. Read the heading, close the book. Nobody must have told you this, no? So far? Everybody asks you to open the book and read. I am telling, don't read the book, close the book. And then what do? Take a notebook, take a pen, write what you know about that. You know something is there inside that, right? You can guess anything, and then start writing. Let it be there. And then open the book and start reading. And you will realize you don't know anything. Or you will realize you know everything as the author knows. You don't know whether that is right or not, but you are matching with the author's knowledge or not having knowledge. That becomes a realization. And then after reading the whole thing, again you close and then read what you wrote in the beginning. Then you understand, oh, I have improved. After reading, I have improved a little bit. Right? At least you will remember what you read for some time. And whatever you read will get communicated internally for some time. And that will remain in your mind for some time. Therefore, reading becomes a good communication from the book, from the author to you. When read Bhagavad Gita, you communicate to Lord Krishna. Krishna, I don't agree with you. You may get all these reasons you can tell to Arjuna and he will believe you. And you become Arjuna and you communicate to Lord Krishna. You take characters. You become part of the story. And you walk around then you will realize it's so wonderful. And you see the scene. How do you see the scene? Read for that. What is to be read? When you read Bhagavad Gita, you should have 60-kilometer wide war field in which Arjuna is standing, 60-kilometer wide. From here to which place? Nalgonda? Or further? 60-kilometer wide. That much width is there for the war field was so long and everybody is standing there. And you feel that you are standing somewhere there. And then you start communicating. Then you read, you will understand, okay, it's wonderful. So realize that you are part of the story and start reading. Either it's chemical science or biological science or physical science or mathematical science or social science or economics or any of the subjects. Be the part of the subject and start feeling. Then you will feel, yes, this is interesting, this is required, this is slightly different. You will realize it entirely different. You should talk the language of the book. That's what it says. When you learn mathematics, talk the language of mathematics. There is no language. For a plus b, the whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. Actually, there is only alpha numeric. There is no mathematics inside that. A person who is having only background in English, who doesn't know mathematics, will read it as English only. But you will realize it's an equation. It means something. Square means multiplying with the same. That you will understand only if you know that. Right? So what is that communicating to you? Exactly what is written and what you understand will match only when you know the language of that subject. A flower communicates to you. If you are a biologist, botany, it will communicate. You will start feeling it out and then see what. Or you will say which family it belongs to. Right? But if you are a poet, it will communicate so many things to you. Right? So each object, each activity in the world communicates to you depends on, not on the object but on you. A stone is seen. A sculpture will see, oh, what I can make with that. No? A small boy will start playing with it. Kick and then see how far it will go. But a glaciologist or a geologist will look at it, how old is that, what group it belongs to. Right? So each activity depends on the background which you have. So anything which you will understand depends on what background you have. Assume I am talking in terms of a language which you don't understand, then what will happen? You will not understand in the same style. Even with the same language which you understand perfectly, with all the internal communication, how much you can grasp is only less than 50%. Therefore, if you don't understand the language, it becomes still difficult. Therefore, language is also important. You should have good, nice vocabulary with you. Otherwise, what will happen? Otherwise, you will start guessing what could be and you will misinterpret the whole subject. Okay? Therefore, language is important. Either verbal or non-verbal, it has got its own language. That's important. And realizing it internally, you should have a communication. That's also important. So both are important. And as much as you communicate, you will grasp that much knowledge. And as much as you communicate, your language will increase. Up to 6 years, you will have more than 6,000 words. If you are interacting with many people and you are in a family where a lot of social contacts are there, assume you don't have, you will have 4,000 words. But somewhere around 5,000 will be the number of words up to 6 years. But then you live for another 10 years, which is the period which you are supposed to learn many subjects, interact with many people up to 10th class. 11th or 12th when you pass, you will have another 6,000 words added, you will have 12,000 words. Not more than that. But then you live the whole life up to 60 years, you will have another 6,000 words. But if you can increase it slightly more, based on your effort. This is normally what happens. But if you can increase it drastically with a lot of struggle, you will have, instead of 18,000, you will have 24,000 words. You will become wonderful. So how much you spend time with people, how much time you will spend with people who have got good vocabulary, how much you read, how much you analyze, how much you use. All this is unimportant. How much you use will tell you how good you are. And it's very easy to learn different languages. We have got an institute, Institute for Languages, just other side. That's foreign language. But Indian language, South Indian languages are so useful, so wonderful. Avide, ivide, ivide. Ange, inge, enge. Akkade, ikkade, akkade. Alli, illi, illi. All languages are same, right? No? All South Indian languages looks almost the same. No difference. Avide, ivide, ivide, Malayalam. Ange, inge, enge, Tamil. Akkade, ikkade, akkade. Telugu. Alli, illi, illi. Kannada. All languages are almost the same. Hindi also will look almost the same. So once you read some subjects, once you become expert in one language, the other language becomes so normal to you. And you will be able to relate things easily and then communicate to them. So learning language is important. Learning not the language which is either Telugu, English, learning the language of, if it's a movie, learning the language of movie. If it's mathematics, learning the language of mathematics. The learning the language of what communicates, what is that you are involved, that's essential. The learning language of drama is essential. Earlier, there used to be drama coming in all India radio. When radio was there, and people will listen to that. Actually, drama is something to be acted, but people will listen to that. And then what will happen? You will imagine what's going to be on the stage. You see how much communication it gives you? Right? And somebody beats a drum, you will listen to the sound. But somebody else listen to the music. You know which ragam they are playing. If you don't know music, you don't know what ragam, you know ragam is playing. Right? No? You will listen and you will understand up to which knowledge you gained, from that you will start building. And if he's a nice musician, he knows where mistakes are happening. And if you don't know that much music, you will understand it only as a sound. Therefore, each sound has got bhavam, artham, and so many stages. Understanding a language, understanding an art form is also categorized in terms of its level of understanding. And ultimately, it says catharsis. Rechanatala. Catharsis. That means you will understand everything out of it. You will understand the bhavam, you will understand the artham, you will understand the meaning of it. You will listen to nice music. Either Telugu, Kannada, Tamil, English, Bangla, doesn't make no difference to you. Because it has got ups and downs, it's so wonderful. You don't understand any meaning of that. Nice Hindi movie you will say. What does it mean? But when you understand the meaning, it gives you an extra. Right? No? So if you don't know language, you can enjoy it. But if you know language, sometimes you will enjoy, sometimes you will hate it. Right? No? Both are possible. When you know the meaning of some songs, you will feel horrible. No? If you don't know meaning, it looks so wonderful. And sometimes the music becomes so good, but the scene becomes so vulgar. So fully understanding will have its own handicap or its own advantage. That depends on which context you are. But you should have the capability to know that. A blind person talks to somebody else. He says the drama is so wonderful. And the other person says, how do you know the drama is so wonderful? Because you are not seeing it. Yeah, seeing is your handicap. If you don't see, you can visualize in whatever way you wanted to visualize it, right? No? Now today, if somebody asks you, Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna is in your mind. How? Because you have seen pictures, and who is that who generally acts as Lord Krishna? NTR. So you have NTR in mind. You see how difficult is that? You are not able to visualize Lord Krishna as different because it gets stuck in you. It's a handicap. Right now? When you see Vivekananda, you can only see his dress. Because that is how he dressed up. You cannot imagine Vivekananda without that dress. But you see the picture album, you will see nice different Vivekananda, the younger age, older age and all that, right? So it looks entirely different. But something comes in your mind and then gets stuck, finished. It happens to me sometimes. I am seeing so many people and assume that one of you talk to me or one of you talk to me. At some time, I will remember the dress which you wore and I will say, on that day you wore this dress. And that only will be in mind. The first sight only will be in mind. Second sight, nothing will be registered. So what will happen? When you get into the picture, something gets in you and then that gets registered and it becomes sometime a problem. Therefore, communication, if generally what happens to people when they learn language, if you learn wrong, every time you will repeat that. Number of children. You can never correct it. I have seen many people. The children is registered, so they will use that only. Nothing can be changed. Very difficult to change. You know that it is wrong. You know only children is not there. But no. It will never happen. Once it gets registered, you will start using. Therefore, learning language in the right sense, learning language with the good people around, communicating to good people are very, very essential. You go to Europe sometime and then start communicating to people, you will also become that after some time. You go to some place and ask for the path, they will say, go. That means this is only short, this is too long. Because we talk to people and that is how we will become after some time. Assume you talk to people outside for some time and then you come back, your whole accent will change. So different you will become very fast. So essentially learning language has to be with usage and practice. Anything in communication needs to be practiced. Listen to you when you read. When you talk to people, try to become their part. And talk with the feelings. If you don't have feelings, that becomes so boring. When you listen with the feelings. Some people will switch on the TV and then you will start, you can tell, no problem, I am seeing that. And small kids only can do, they will turn the face and say, listen to me. So sometimes giving face is essential. You don't have even to talk sometimes. Without talking also you can communicate to people. The language of silence. The language of look. That's enough. People will understand what do you mean. I am sitting with some friends. My son comes and makes disturbances. No problem. Once, no problem. Second time, no problem. Third time, I will see like this, he knows what does it mean. He will go and open the book and then sit there. Right now? So I is enough for you to communicate. But will everybody understand? No. At my home, I know how to communicate to my family. And some other family, the communication language will be entirely different. Because you practice in some style and that is what you are familiar with. Therefore, that is the language of communication internally to you. And that becomes your communication with it. Somebody asked me a question that Lord Krishna spoke 18 chapters to Arjuna. It takes 4.5 hours, 5 hours cassette play today. So 5 hours Krishna was standing, Arjuna, all the other people were also standing, listening to this. And they have not seen Krishna, nothing was heard. Only Arjuna could hear that. Are they wasting time? You don't have to talk. Lord Krishna need not chant. Just one look is enough. All the doubts will come, all the answers will go. Right now? So there are so much which you can communicate within span of time which you can't do in a lifetime. I have communicated to you for last 51 minutes 45 seconds. That which I could never communicate earlier or you could never listen earlier. So you don't require long time, large time, lot of lifetime to communicate. Now whatever seeds which I gave inside you, that should grow. Start thinking on these lines. What does it communication means? How do I improve? The ultimate aim of this course is to improve communication, right now? So how do you communicate? Close your eyes, listen to you. While reading, while listening, while understanding, that's what is to be done. Listen to you. Listen to you internally. When you read, close the book and listen. When you eat, enjoy. Actually listening to the taste. Communicating with the taste. What do you do? Some people will just like the taste. Some people it's actually communicating. What happens? Each indriya communicates to the mind and that gets reacted. Reacting is communication, right? No? So you are communicating to the food. And that's what earlier people do, communicating to food. What do they do? Brahmarpanam, Brahma Havir, Brahmagnav, Brahmanahudam, Brahmaiva Tena Gandavyam, Brahma Karma Samadhina, and then only they will eat. Why? Because you are communicating to food. Oh, food, you are going inside. Why you have to talk to food? They talk to food. They talk to everything in the world. Then only that becomes useful. Before reading, they talk to God. Before getting up, they talk to God. Before waking up, they will talk to God. After waking up, when you touch on the ground, they will talk to ground. Right now? Yes, sir. What is that? Gange Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Janesmin Sannitim Guru. Before taking bath, talk to water. Before touching your feet onto the ground, what is that? It's not. Repeat it again. Samudra Vasane Devi Parvadastana Mandide or Mandale. There are two versions. Then Vishnu Patni Navastubhyam Padasparsham Khamasume. You are Vishnu's wife, but I am putting my leg on your wife. Please pardon. Right? No? You say it is Mother Earth, but you are putting leg. So please pardon for that. It's talking to earth, talking to sun early morning. What is that? Gayatri. Right? No? Om Bhurvasvahat Tat Savidur Varenyam Vargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yonaha Prachodayat. Oh Lord Sun, you are enlightening the whole world, but you are never entering inside my heart. Please enlighten me. Please get into me, no? So that I will get enlightened. I will understand everything in the world. Please. But if you don't know what will happen, Diyo yo na prachodayat. Please don't enlighten me. Please don't enlighten. Na prachodayat. Prachodayat means enlighten. Na prachodayat means don't enlighten. So you will tell Lord Son, please don't enlighten me, no? Let me be in darkness. So if you don't know the language, it's difficult. Sometimes you will make mistakes. But no problem, you can make mistake because at the end you will say, there is a Kshamavana mantra. You ask the priest, they will do everything what they like. They will do 100 mistakes and at the end they will say Kshama. Paripurnam Vadastude. All these mistakes are because of you, my God. They are the people who are supposed to communicate to God. The priests. The priests are the people, they are supposed to communicate to God. And they have to be so clean. So clean. So clean, nothing should go inside. Whatever they say is what means. They cannot tell something and mean something else. But they don't know meaning, therefore no Guessing. Correct, no? Ekajame, ekajame, trishyastame, trishyastame, panjajame, panjajame, saptajame, saptajame, navajame, navajame, ekajame, triyodasajame. But nothing is understood. Arithmetic progression they never learn. This is arithmetic progression only. Ekajame, trishyastame, panjajame, 5, saptajame, 7, navajame, 9, 11, 13, etc. Some God does not like. So for next chapter. What is next chapter? After arithmetic progression, what is the next chapter? Geometric progression. Ekamcha, 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 dashamcha, 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 shabamcha, 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 sahasramcha, sahasramcha, ayudamcha, 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 etc. It goes up to 10 power 53. No God understands, no priest understands. But inside him, what he will communicate? My wife has scolded me yesterday morning, and today also she is going to scold me. If I don't get 250 rupees by evening, how many people are there around? I don't know how much money I will get, I don't know. But if I don't get, I will be getting scolding again and again. This will be what is internally communicating. So what do you say has nothing inside. As you go inside, please come now, somebody will say, internally, oh, this man has come now only. Right now? Therefore, what is essential for good communication? Walk, word has to be good. And word should come from the heart. Heart has to be good. Walk, mana, mind has to be good. Good words should come from good mind. And only good words will come from good mind. If somebody is scolding, that means he is very bad. He has kept a lot of bad words in him. Right now, when father, mother, sister, somebody scolds you or teacher scolds you, oh, you have become so bad. You have kept a lot of bad words in you. When you are going to improve in your life. So bad words will come from only bad mind. And how your mind gets these words? All the indriyas. So vak, mana, chakshu, srota, grana, jihvaredo, udyagni, sankalpame sutyandam. Your thought process also gives you a lot of communication. And that has to be clean. Your eye has to be clean. Ear has to be clean. That means don't clean it. That means you should see only good things. Don't interpret bad. See only good things. Don't see where you are not supposed to see. Hear only good words. Have good satsang with people and then interact with the good people. You will learn a lot. And that will give you a lot of good internal communication. And as you look, it is not important. Your words should be very good. Keyurana bhushayanti purusham harana chandrojvalam na snanam na kusumam na vilepanam. Taking bath is not important. Vilepanam, putting powder and putting sandalwood. Earlier sandalwood paste, no powder. So no, all these are useless. Dressing up is not required. Harem, lot of ornaments are not required. Flower, whether you have put flower or not is not as important. What is important is vak bhushanam bhushanam. Nice words should come from you. If nice words are not there, whatever way you look at is useless. So nice words should come from you. If your dealings are not good with the people, if your communication with the people are not very good, you are not going to be accepted. So very, very important to practice internal communication, good communication, think yourself, analyze yourself internally, and that's very, very essential.